History tomorrow, the first Republican presidential debate of this historic 2024 cycle. 8 podiums will be on the stage in the arena in Milwaukee, which will, by the way, will be the city that hosts the 2024 Republican National Convention. Those are the 8 candidates who will be there. The front runner, the former President Donald Trump, will not. Let's get on the ground in Milwaukee right away. Robert Costa and Finn Gómez, both there 24 hours before this debate. I want you both to answer this question. Bob, let me start with you. How does it feel different, if it does, 24 hours before the debate without Donald Trump attending tomorrow?
Scott, good to be with you and here with Finn in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's clear there's a lot of anticipation here about what's going to happen on Wednesday evening. So many of the rival campaigns have high expectations that they can try to have a breakthrough moment. Many of them need a breakthrough moment to generate interest, sustained interest from donors, from supporters in early states. And so while it might not be the most high-stakes debate in terms of the overall race, because Trump is in such a front-running position, for many of them, this is a night of survival. Can they actually endure in the Republican presidential race? And if you're someone like Governor Doug Burgum, who is at 1%, or your former Vice President Mike Pence, who's in the single digits, you really could use a breakthrough moment, even if it's just underscoring your biography to much of the Republican electorate.
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of these folks, this is the first time, the first opportunity they have to make a name for themselves, to really declare to the audience of potential Republican viewers that this is my platform, this is what I stand for. I think in a cycle that's been dominated by Trump, the former president, and his legal hurdles and troubles, I think this is a moment where they can have those breakthrough moments where they're hoping, and some of them may have just a few minutes compared to like some of the others. You know, they just have a couple windows before the cycle is probably overtaken again just the next day by Trump and his legal hurdles in Atlanta.
And it's also, Scott, I would say, too, Finn, a reckoning for the Republican National Committee. We saw David Bossie, who's one of the organizers of this debate for the RNC, walking around. Who runs the party? Who really is the chairman of the party, the chairperson of the party? Ronna McDaniel, in name, is, and she runs the Republican National Committee. But when you have the front runner in the party decide not to show up at the party's debate and not to sign the pledge to protect the eventual nominee, it raises questions about political capital inside the GOP. And while Trump is close to McDaniel, he's close to Bossie, his former deputy campaign manager, he's saying to them, I don't need you. I don't need to be there. And it will be a real question in the newsrooms around the country and for the Republican voter. What's the big event of the week? Is it the Republican debate, or is it Trump expected to surrender later this week in Fulton County, Georgia? And Trump's bet, based on my reporting, my conversations with his associates and allies and advisors, is that he believes his voters care more about him being defiant on Thursday than being on the stage on Wednesday.
Yeah, and I think it's an interesting note. David Bossie, his former deputy campaign manager, essentially in 2016, and also, he handpicked Ronna McDaniel. She's at that helm, and both, we know that we have confirmed that Ronna McDaniel went up to Bedminster to personally plead with the former president to attend this debate, and that he's not debating. And frankly, have we ever seen this, Bob? I mean, where you have the front runner with such a wide margin not showing up to this debate when typically it would be all eyes on him at this debate.
But it's so early. I mean, that's the thing. You think about 1992 presidential race. Bill Clinton didn't get into that race until the fall of '91. Right. So we're at such an early moment. I remember you and I were covering the 2012 presidential race. Yeah. Who had the big debate in 2012 in the summer? Michelle Bachmann, the congresswoman from Minnesota. She had a big debate. She won the Ames straw poll. Yeah. It was the summer of Bachmann. She didn't end up winning Iowa. She didn't end up winning the Republican nomination. So we have to be careful. This is an important moment at this stage in the race, but it might not be that big of a moment long term. We're not trying to tell you not to care. It's important as a political marker. But in the long-term story of this presidential race, it's the first inning.
Yeah, and, there's still just and less than 150 days away until the Iowa caucuses, which is actually a lifetime, as you know, Scott, in politics. So a lot could still happen. But tomorrow night, I think, really is a new chapter in this cycle, and we're really going to hear from a lot of this field, and a lot of this field will get a chance to really present themselves to the country and potential Republican voters.
Without Trump, it's Ron DeSantis. to a degree, literally and metaphorically, who's center stage. Before I ask you a question about the Florida governor, let's take a listen to what he said earlier today.
2024 is our moment of choosing. We are not going to get a mulligan on this one. The Democrats are playing for keeps. The time for excuses for Republicans is over. We must get the job done.
Based on your conversations and reporting, Bob, you first, is it expected that the political fire will be trained on Ron DeSantis by the others, or are his numbers so soft now that he needn't be targeted?
A lot of this is going to depend on the question in the moment. I spoke to former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie in recent weeks, spent a day with him at the Jersey Shore, not the worst place to spend a day, at Seaside Heights. And Christie said his ire, his target is Trump, even if Trump's not on the stage. But he'll be willing to take on DeSantis if it comes to that. But the Florida governor is at a point in the race where he may need to actually stretch his own political muscles and really make a case for his own record in Florida, maybe take on someone like Vivek Ramaswamy, who's garnering a lot of support among Trump voters. A debate super PAC memo was circulated in DeSantis' orbit.
Leaked, yeah.
Well, yeah, and it shows that some DeSantis allies believe he should be taking on Ramaswamy more than anyone, because DeSantis has been attacking Trump from the right, but that has created some vulnerability with the Trump electorate to some extent.
And Ramaswamy has moved up, if you look at some of those national polls, I mean, in the last few weeks, and really taking away as DeSantis has slid, you've seen Ramaswamy move up. So that would be a very interesting dynamic to see, that Vivek Ramaswamy versus Ron DeSantis tomorrow night. But I do think, and speaking to some of the rival campaigns to DeSantis, that Ron DeSantis should have basically a bullseye on his chest, because he will be. You should expect a lot of rhetorical missiles to be fired at the Florida governor, and I do expect that he will be a prime target for the rest. They got to clear him out. They got to clear out the #2 spot to be the chief alternative to Donald Trump. Even if it's a wide margin, the person that's in their way right now is Ron DeSantis. So expect that. I would expect that. Some of the others, like we mentioned, Vivek Ramaswamy, Chris Christie may throw some fireballs at Ron DeSantis as well. I mean, it could come from all sides, from the right, from the left, from the center. So I think he will be a prime target tomorrow night, Scott.
The depths of summer, and it's 78 degrees outside the arena in Milwaukee. Enjoy that, both of you. Bob Costa, Finn Gómez. We appreciate it.
It's a beautiful night tonight.